kids. My name is Miss Nancy, and you're here at Grow with Miss Nancy, and we're talking about the events that are happening in the book of Acts. You know, by this time, there were so many people who were believing in Jesus, and they were enjoying life together, and they were sharing things, and they were looking out for each other, and they were eating together, praying together, worshiping together. And there was even such wonderful sharing that some people were selling some of their possessions, and the money that they sold, that they got when they sold, they gave it to the apostles to take care of those people who didn't have as much as they did. So it was a really wonderful time. There was even a fellow by the name of Barnabas who sold a piece of property and took all of that money and gave it to the apostles, and they were using it for people. Well, unfortunately, there was a couple by the name of Ananias and Sapphira. They also sold a piece of property that belonged to them. However, they conspired together and said, now, we're not going to give all this money to the apostles. We're going to give part of it, but we're going to keep part for ourselves. And they agreed upon that. So when Ananias went by himself to the apostles, he made this big show about how he and his wife had sold this property, and they were giving all the money to the apostles, just like Barnabas had done. Only thing is, the Holy Spirit told Peter that he was lying, that he did not do that. He did sell it, but he was not giving all the money. Now, it's not that he didn't give the money. That wasn't the problem. The problem was he could have kept all that money, or he could have kept part of that money and said, we sold the property and here's part of the money, and that would have been great. But he didn't. He lied. And he didn't just lie to Peter. He lied to the Holy Spirit, which is like lying to God. And Peter saw, and he knew, and he told Ananias, you have lied to the Holy Spirit, and because of that, you are going to die. He dropped down dead right then, and everybody was surprised. And the young men took his body and took him out right then and buried him, because they had a plan back then that you had to bury somebody right away when they passed away. Well, it wasn't very much longer. Several hours later, here comes the wife, Sapphira. And she comes in, and Peter says to her, because he's testing her, and he said, Sapphira, did you all sell some property? And she said, yes. And did you give all the money for that? And she said, yes, we gave all the money to you. Well, she was lying as well, wasn't she? And Peter said, you know, Ananias said the same thing. And he dropped down dead because he lied to the Holy Spirit. And the same thing's going to happen to you. She dropped down dead too. And they carried her out. Well, that kind of scared everybody, you know? But let's think about this. Did that mean that God is a bad person? Does that mean that God is scary? No. What that means is that God is holy and true, and he doesn't like lying. He doesn't like people to not be honest. He wants people to be upright and pure. And you know, if you're going to be a witness for God, you need to be a good one. And because they were not, they were punished. Are you being a good witness for God? Are you trusting in him? Are you being honest and true and a good ambassador for Jesus? That's what we're called to do. We're called as well to tell people about Jesus and to be truthful and be good witnesses. Mary and Martha were not there when it happened, but you can believe they heard about it. I wonder what they thought. Let's listen into their little conversation, okay? See you next week.